All right, so let's talk about content. I was thinking about this because I spend way too much time sometimes sitting in front of a computer and wondering what I should be writing about, whether that's I'm trying to send some newsletters out or create content for my social media calendar, or I'm trying to add a few nurture pieces to my nurture campaign, things like that. We're always looking for content to write about. So I created this little mini worksheet, and you can download and follow along as you listen or watch. And it's called, the title of the worksheet is Not Sure What to Write About. And I'm going to give you some tips on content pieces that are going to help you position yourself as somebody who really understands the client, who gets what they're going through, who gets what they're dealing with, who gets their challenges, the mistakes they're making. All right. And it's more important than putting the attention on you and what you can do, because oftentimes when you show you get your potential client, they're just going to gonna fall in love with you because they're gonna feel like you hear them, but they're gonna just assume that you're an expert. All right. There's this weird thing when somebody really gets you. I don't know if I've had this experience once when somebody was listening to me and just kind of like repeating what I was saying and really showing me that they got me. And I'm like, oh my God, you can really help me. You really understand me. So if you have that kind of experience, you know what I'm talking about. All right. So let's dive in. So the content pieces you could start with, here's some titles you could use. 3 top challenges that they're facing, focusing on their challenges. And you could turn it into 3 articles, or 4 or 5 if you know 5 challenges that they're facing. Let's say your client is a coach, your ideal client is a coach. Top 3 challenges coaches are facing doing X, Y, and Z. Another topic would be that would really help to position you as an expert that understands them, would be talking about the mistakes they're making. So you could be talking about the top 3 or 4 or 5 mistakes that coaches are making. And you could turn it into 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of content. And the last one that I think is the most intriguing and most positions you as somebody who really gets them is talking about the things they think they need but don't really need, or the things they think they want but don't need. All right. And if you're getting a little bit confused, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you a few examples in a little bit. Now, what's really important is that when you're creating the pieces of content, you address both the intellectual and the emotional side of things. The way to address the intellectual and really connect with their intellect is to get very practical. Here's the practical steps you can take to overcome the mistake that you're making. All right, and give them some practical advice. The way to connect with them on an emotional level is to write a story. And there's 3 different ways you can create a story that will help you connect with your client. A, you can talk about your own story. And by the way, with a little caveat, if you do, oftentimes those kind of things feel like you're using something, and sometimes it can come across a little slimy. The way to overcome that is to tell one on yourself. Share one of your weaknesses. Share something you might used to be ashamed of a little bit. Something they might not be willing to share about themselves quite yet. All right, but you know that they're dealing with it. So you can talk about you. You can also talk about your clients, what they're dealing with, what's the challenges that they have overcome. Or if you don't have clients yet, you can talk about people you have had conversations with. You can start your piece of content something like, I was at this seminar or conference, I'm talking with this woman and she's dealing with this and she's in tears and she can't figure out her way out of it. And you describe the whole story, you connect to the emotions, and that woman you're talking to is talking what they're dealing with, right? Because she's your ideal client. So then you connect to their emotions, and then you can go into the practical side of things where you position yourself as the guide who helps them. All right, but you keep them the hero, you're the guide, you keep the attention on them. Okay, so that is the content pieces and how you address them. I'm going to give you a few examples, and the worksheet has them so you can follow along. So the top 3 challenges that they're facing. For example, if your client is a coach, and this is just an example, then the top 3 challenges would be get enough clients and revenue, managing their scheduling and networking. How do they put together their schedule with that online and offline and all this stuff? Not having a clear message, or not having a clear funnel, not having a clear strategy, or having a message but not knowing if it resonates. That could be a challenge. Okay, let's talk about the examples of the mistakes they're making. It could be, for example, that they're creating online coaching programs before they test the conversion. So they'll spend 2 months creating this wonderful, beautiful online video training program before they have tested what's it going to cost to get somebody to purchase it. All right, versus other options, other programs that could be creating. And they create it, they try to market it, and they're like, oops, that didn't work, so now I have to create a new one. So that could be a mistake that they're making. Another mistake they could be making is that they're doing too many things marketing-wise, kind of half-assing it and not going full out. And so they never see the results and they kind of abandon and go to the next thing. Another mistake that they're making is talking too much about themselves and their credentials and their certifications, and not realizing that oftentimes we don't even know what that means and we don't really care. What we care is that they understand us and they get us, right? So that could be a big mistake that they're making. Now, the last thing, the tricky thing, the 3 things they think they want but don't need. An example could be they think they want an over-decorated website. They don't really need it, and here's why. All right. They also think they need to spend months and months learning about something, whether it's business, whether it's marketing or sales or coaching or public speaking, or I don't know, bazillion little things, and they might not need to do that. Number 3, they might think they need a budget, marketing budget for testing, or budget for whatever, or they might think it takes a lot of money to build their particular business and they might not need it. You might be the guy to show them, hey, here's how you can do this cheaper. So these are examples. So you can start with that, the 3 top challenges, the 3 mistakes, and the 3 things they want but don't need. And then you'll have 9 titles for content pieces. At least, right? You can go 5, 5, 5 too. So that will give you 15 content pieces. So we'll start with 9. Let's say you have 9 articles. So now what you can do with that, out of those 9 articles, now you can go create videos based on those. Now you have video content pieces. Now you can create Facebook posts based on that. You can create tweets, or if you're on Instagram or whatever you are, you can create that. Now you can string 3 of them together and do an hour-long webinar. And at the end, invite people to do a discovery call with you. Or you can do 3 different Facebook Lives. Or you can do a 3-part video training series that you send people out in exchange for their email information. Or you can do an e-guide or ebook on mistakes or even myths in the industry or whatever, right? So you could turn a bunch of these into a lead magnet, which is how lead magnets work, is that you drive traffic to them, you gate them You ask for their email address, you send them this piece of information, and then you start nurturing them through the nurture campaign and sending them more follow-up, relevant, useful information until they're ready to have a discovery call with you when they turn themselves, or when you can ask them to be your client. All right, so those are just ideas for content. I hope it helps. And that's what I got for you.